So it turns out that what makes PMC different from the other components of my ordeal or propositions, or the objectives that I've programmed in my Internet Explorer and Adobe and Spotify. That's basically what I've done to make a greater contribution towards greater assets as far as feeding the hunger. So that's about $841 of increased bonuses going out to Catfish, Mr. Catfish every every 6 months, and that's basically an extra access plan that gives it more leisure and liability to get the standard component statistics out, and get back to the natural base of what servings is supposed to be served a month, and being able to create a square equilibrium with the sales and balances is all we're looking for particularly. Other than that, there's no problem with the community other than the business that we require from each other, and it's basically just keeping good faith in between the product and the faith of the cashiers, and making sure that we have a trustability of knowing accurate more accurate graphs um, of our intelligence, knowing where to place our objectives, and, knowing placement of those objectives. That's a big part of lat and luxury luck as well. You have to be very prepared and very urbanized to know what that is. So you have to be very infinity oriented. You have to have that car in fashion. You have to have that whole style unique, and ready for 1930 to 2006, and in your urban rural of Austria, Colorado, or in your northern plains, and just hanging out with Impala 2008 to 2018, and figuring out the accommodations that you're influenced by, and it's basically creating your 1846 to 1930. And that's basically how you're communicating with hotspots all over the Lieutenant network, and that's basically where you're making a transaction, making a public communication between the military or your family or your friends of a sort, the loved ones. And that's basically a T-Mobile plan, basically, and it's basically what T-Mobile does, sponsored by T-Mobile, and T-Mobile gets that done. So to PMC, T-Mobile is just a co-advertisement, and that's just basically PMC paying more of $680. I mean 680 with 80 cents towards this trans tax every 6 months, and that's basically where you're getting more for the bang for the buck, since the bill is already $224.20 is already paid for. You're paying for an $84 bill, and that's basically you paying that much of 3,000 in hundreds, and it's basically where you're getting more bang for your buck. And hundreds could be in $10 bills if you add it up, and you just adding 10,000 dimes every time, and what gets you is after $3 and you hit that $10 bill, that's basically 130 cent, $1.30 that you're getting, that makes the world of a difference in one of these these applications that you see. And that's one of the realest things that you got to figure out from sixth grade to 12th grade is, is it adaptable to common sense, or can you get it from acknowledgeability, just noticing it on a car or a truck, or more of reading it on a book, just getting it more compiled with its senses. But anyway, back to the PMC2 square is just a graph grid. So basically what we do is, we use 12th grade terminology, and, we use, solid colors, and, solid, so it can figure out the cubic units of the graph. And, that's basically working on 10th grade, where you're working on vocabulary and sciences at the same time. So it's vocabulary, sciences, and astrology at the same time. So you're working on planets and constellations and space stars, and galaxies, and working on more of the Milky Way performance.